On-player trophy between Leeds and Wigan. The Wigan team today is number 1 Shaun Edwards, number 2 John Ferguson, number 3 David Stevenson, number 4 Colin Whitfield, number 5 Henderson Gill. Stanley Farth number 6 in Mark Cannon, and Keith Holding number 7. Wigan front row number 8 Courtney, number 9 Kiss, number 10 Case. 11 Graham West, 12 Scott and 13 Potter. The substitutes for Wigan today, both forwards, Pendlebury and number 14 and Dunn at 15. No changes in the Leeds side according to the programme. Number 1 Ian Wilkinson, number 2 Neil Haig, number 3 David Creaser, number 4 Tony Curry, number 5 Neil Hunt, number 6 John Holmes, number 7 Kevin Dick, number 8 Roy Dickinson, number 9 David Ward, 10 Trevor Patterson, 11 Fullerton Smith, 12 Webb and 13 Heron. The substitutes for Leeds are Lulham and Moorbays. Referee for today's game, Allett of Southport. Wigan have won the toss and Leeds will be playing from left to right. Been a little bit of trouble with the camera. I hope that this is coming through to you. As Dick kicks deep to Edwards on his own line, slips it on to Gill. Gill running across Whitfield, taken 15 yards out from his own line. Wigan trying to bring the ball away, slipped across. Long wide pass comes out to West. West coming driving in, trying to clear the 25, slips it nicely. Gill having to juggle with the ball. Wigan living dangerously in their own 25. Gill been involved quite a lot in these early stages. Courtney now trying to bring the ball away, and Leeds moving up quickly in defence, holding Wigan back as ball's flung to Whitfield for the kick behind the defence, but it's being covered by Hunt. Back in defence in his own half, trying to come through the middle, runs into Cannon and he's buried. Wigan cleared their own, out to their own 25 into the Leeds half, and Wigan penalised for not getting off the man in the tackle. Holmes to kick for touchdown, the Wigan right wing. Safe and sure finds it 12 yards inside the Wigan half. Ward coming up to restart the game, getting Leeds moving. Leeds come driving in, Wigan forwards taking them, pushing them back. Leeds lining up very, very deeply. Comes to Webb, Webb hands it on. Forwards go driving in, Patterson being taken. Pitch in lovely condition today as Ward switches direction to Holmes. Holmes holding his pass, times the ball very nicely. And this time it doesn't do anything at all effective. Little grubber kick through there. Awkward one for Edwards, does well to take it. Dangerous little kick through by Leeds. Scott comes driving in, feet slip from underneath him. Kiss to Holding. Holding trying to get the line moving. Long pass to Gill. Gill having to come inside. Knocks off Haig, still going strongly, and Creaser comes in to effect the tackle. Ball back onto Whitfield. Whitfield going to put the kick, put in the full back, under pressure, chasing in on his own 25 line. Taken well by Wilkinson. Good clean catch there, running the ball out. Put down 35 yards out from his own line. Leeds driving forward, Wigan forwards going in hard, trying to push them back. Ward at Dick waiting for the play of the ball. Leeds from there's a gap there, but stitched up by the two Wigan second row men, by Kiss and by West going into the tackle. Heron looking a bit shaken in that tackle. The gap here, kick behind the Wigan defence. The gap was seen. Good long rubber kick pushes Wigan back into their own half, and we come to the first scrum of the game. About 5 minutes gone. Wigan push back into their own half, and be Holden to feed the scrum, and Kiss with a loose head. Heron been receiving treatment, got shaken in the tackle. Ball. Wigan penalised for not feeding, not putting the ball in correctly. Although Wigan had the double advantage there, they've given it away, given possession back to Leeds. Holmes down the Wigan left wing, screws off the side of his foot. 10 yards outside the Wigan 25, Ward coming up to restart. Short one on to Dickinson, Dickinson driving in, gets away from Scott. West falls him, Case comes across to complete the tackle, and they force him down to the deck. Ward again, waiting for the play of the ball. Moves it out to Webb, Webb jumping with it to come inside. Good break by Webb, nearly through there. Eventually Wigan managed to seal up the gap, but it was a good break by Webb. Wigan forwards hunting as a pack, coming in hard together. Leeds had a lot of possession, moving the ball well, and the ball's gone loose there. On the ground, it's snapped up by Wigan. Cannon moving well down the far wing, gets it to Ferguson. Ferguson drives into the Leeds half. Stevenson waiting for the play of the ball. It's a penalty for Wigan for an infringement in the tackle. Whitfield being called over. It's not very far in from the far touchline. A very narrow angle for him to kick. Down the Leeds left wing touchline. And Whitfield deciding, having a word with his captain as to whether he should kick for goal or not. Crowd don't like the consultation, and he's decided that he's going to kick for goal. It's a long kick, 5 yards inside the Leeds half and about 5 yards in from the right hand touchline. Whitfield wanted to get early points on the board for Wigan. Good crowd here today on a pitch that's in excellent condition. Light not too good, very murky coming over the top. Floodlights on early in the afternoon, only 2:15. Whitfield trying to give Wigan this early lead. Lifts it high, I think it's going to be short. Oh, one knocked on right in front of the line. That was a bad mistake by Leeds. The Wigan in a good attacking position now with a double advantage. The put in, it's only the second scrum. First one ended up in Wigan being penalised for incorrect feeding. Wigan and penalised before Holding could get anywhere near the pack for the front row not packing correctly. Advantage once again thrown away through silly penalties, silly technical offences. This will give relief to Huddersfield after they've made the bad mistake. Holmes, a good kick for touch, almost up to the 25 line, but it means that Leeds still have the possession inside their own 25. Wards takes the tap. Dickinson comes charging forward, proving quite a handful there before Wigan can get him down. Came onto that ball very strongly, and again the forwards come charging in. Coming in very powerfully on the ball, the Leeds forwards. Ward wanted to get on with it quickly, moving it out. And Patterson almost through there. Ward, a long one onto Holmes. Holmes, a nice pass, a good break back, Wilkinson. Wilkinson going inside. Holding, hanging on to him eventually. West came along to complete the tackle. Dick moving the ball along the line. Holmes moves it across quickly, turning back inside. Quick pass from Ward, back onto Holmes. Holmes changing direction, out onto Webb. Webb going back inside, keeping the ball moving, and Wigan have intercepted the ball. Courtney behind the play of the ball. Decides he's going to go on his own. Stumbles over a Leeds player, retreating back into defence. It comes to Holding. Holding the ball, turning back inside. He's dropped it, lost possession, and Leeds glad to get it back. As Ward moves it out, Holmes getting across the field onto Dickinson, and Dickinson is well tackled by his opposite number, by Courtney. Out to Holmes, Holmes just hands it on. Now Patterson coming hard and straight on his tackle, low and hard by Potter. Dick moving it out to Ward, Ward holding it, long pass out to the centre, Gill goes inside, takes his man well. Played back to Fullerton Smith, a long one to Dick, Dick moves it across the field. Wide passing was out to Holmes, and a long one out to the wing. Ferguson, and he's rounded Ferguson well. Great run here by Hunt. Trouble for Wigan. And Gillis come into the middle, ball still on the floor, loose. And it's Leeds who regains possession. That's the fifth tackle, but that was a certain attack by Leeds. Swept down the field, Wigan in a lot of trouble, and there's a drop goal attempt. That's going to go again. So it'll be a drop from the Wigan 25. Well, Hunt went very powerfully down the left wing and rounded Ferguson, who's no sloughing, and Wigan were in all sorts of trouble. There's a confab among the Wigan players as to what they're going to do from their own 25. And it's on to Courtney. Grovels his way forward, pedestrian stuff that, and now Kiss doing the same thing, one man time rugby, but Kiss gained a lot of ground that time. Comes to Case, Case moves it to West, West going back inside, lobs the ball back, Case managed to get it on to Scott, Scott hands it on to Edwards, but Wigan had lost ground. Pushed back in possession through some very loose passing, played back to Potter, now Potter moves the ball across, Cannon hands it on to Stevenson making a good strong run down the far side before he's down. Plays it back to Ferguson, Ferguson inside, Cannon, hoists a high one, there's plenty of cover here. The ball bouncing awkwardly in front of Wilkinson, and it's Creaser who takes it, and he's lost it. Another bad mistake. Quickly out onto Whitfield, Whitfield running hard, going to bring Gill inside, and Gill dropped it. A lot of loose play by both sides as Creaser regains possession. Leeds bringing the ball away. Ward waiting for the play the ball as Wilkinson gets up onto Dick. Dick moving across to Dickinson, running cross field. Taken by the two Wigan props. Dick moving it across the field. Forwards coming back inside, but Wigan tackling well as Scott goes in. Long pass back. Holmes tries to kick behind the defence. It looks a good kick then. And that's an extremely good kick. Push Wigan back right into their own 25. Long raking kick down the Wigan right wing. Both sides a little bit unsure at times in the handling. Perhaps the tension is still getting at them. Nerves not gone yet in these opening exchanges. Two scrums so far, and Wigan have been penalised at both of them. And Kiss not down. Ball's in, coming out quickly to Wigan. All Holding can do is fall on the ball at the base of the scrum. Potter waiting for the play the ball. Long pass out, Cannon hands it on to Edwards. Edwards on to Stevenson. Stevenson well tattled, can't get out of that sort of tattling. Whitfield behind the play the ball. Dancing, trying to bring his way forward, giving his team time to regroup. And it's Stevenson who's acting half back, trying to dance his way through, gains a lot of ground, he jinked his way. Now the forwards are getting in positions. Kiss comes up to acting half back, onto Case. Case driving hard and straight. Stopped dead in his tracks. Thrown back to Whitfield. Whitfield not getting behind the defence. Wilkinson lets it bounce. Bounces kindly for him. Outside his own 25, trying to come down the middle. He's buried under the Wigan defence as they'd moved up after the kick. A little bit wide there and Kisses into the tattle. Ward waiting for the play the ball, moving it across the field. Webb moves it across, Cannon going into the tattle, takes Heron. Webb waiting for the play the ball, then the short one inside. Patterson comes crashing his way forward. Stopped by Potter, goes out to Dick, Dick onto Ward. Ward moving it across, Dickinson coming strongly, Wigan in equally strong into the tattle. West and Courtney, I think, forced down to the ground, and the referee said he knocked on as he went down. Once again it's Wigan's put in. Leeds not had a chance to feed the scrums yet. The feet all over the place as it shoots out to Cannon, out to Holding who'd run round him. Holding dumping a short pass on to Whitfield. Whitfield dies with the ball, can't get moving, a little bit off balance. Comes to Edwards. Edwards making a run on his own, trying to go through, followed from behind, doesn't get very far. Kiss. Out to Holding. Holding dumping, making a lovely break down the middle. Nice run by Holding. Kiss out to Cannon. Cannon to Courtney. Courtney turning it back inside to West. He's looking to hang on to the ball on his fingertips as he took that pass. And a penalty against Heron for lying on at the play of the ball. Referee keen on it this afternoon. Both sides being penalised equally for this same offence, and this is a considerably easier kick for Whitfield. A quarter of an hour of the first half gone as Whitfield comes up for his second attempt at goal. Most of the play been midfield, neither side really been able to penetrate into the other's 25 yet to any and apply pressure there. One surge down the field by left wingman Hunt, and Wigan a good kick which knocked on the line and were immediately penalised for a scrum offence. Defence is very strong and very tight in these opening stages. Lifted it and wide. Another let off for Leeds. That's one that should have gone over. First one was difficult. Those are ones that should be kicked in cup ties as Dick comes up to restart with a dropout from his own 25. Low one, awkward one. Goes under West's feet. Ferguson makes sure that he gets it cleanly. Strong running wingman coming inside, gets away from Ward. Still struggling and twisting and turning. Gets the ball beautifully onto Stevenson, and Wigan have knocked on. Just when it looked as if they were going to make a break there, once again the handling let them down. And it's Dick's turn at last to put the ball in. Just inside the Wigan half. Dead centre of the field. Dick looked a bit like feeding there. It's gone through, and Holding's one. The referee said it's gone straight through. Dick once more to feed the scrum. The back wheel and Munty was putting the ball in. Shoots straight out the side. He's penalised for incorrect feeding. Both scrum halves guilty at the scrums. Whitfield makes sure it goes into touch. Halfway between the halfway line and the Leeds 25. Gill hands it on to Scott as Kiss is receiving attention. Pull up pass there, goes on to Case. Case running into the forward. Has to die with the ball. Scott again attacked in half-back. Switches it on to Cannon. Cannon on to West. West slips it on to Edwards quickly out to Gill. Gill got it standing still, but didn't realise that Edwards was going to give it him as quickly as that. And it was good play by Edwards, really. Comes out onto Holding. Holding to onto Case. Case trying to come straight down the middle. Lets the ball go back onto Courtney. Quickly out onto Whitfield. Whitfield onto Potter. Potter. Whitfield trying to go through. Gets the ball loose. I think it's going to be another knock-on. A vital moment. Wigan losing the ball. Potter got it out to Whitfield. Couldn't take it cleanly. He's come down on the Leeds 25. He's going to have to watch his feeding here. The referee's been very keen at the scrums. This time it's coming out to Dick. Lobs it across onto Wilkinson, who joined in the attack. Wilkinson running strongly. Wigan followed him across the field, and he has to go down underneath Stevenson and Edwards. Good break by Leeds. Strong, elusive running right up to the halfway line. Very good run by Hunt. He's proving a lot of trouble to Wigan this afternoon. Leeds nearly breaking through from the forward, but lost a little bit of ground as the ball had been moved across the field. Creaser going to act in half-back. Moves it inside onto Webb. Webb, a long one. Dick having to juggle with it. Kiss hanging on to him. And we're going to force Leeds back in possession. Shoves them back into the Leeds half. Ward waiting for the play of the ball. Long one out. Webb kicks behind the defence. Edwards having to chase this. And it suddenly bounces away, but he manages to keep it in play. He's out on his own there as Webb has followed it up. Running crossfield. Webb follows him across and puts him down. Holding short one onto Scott. Scott trying to clear his lines. Gets it out to Gill. Gill having to come back into the middle, and his feet slip from under him. Kiss trying to come through from acting half-back. He's dumped down by Patterson. Holding to Cannon. Cannon juggling with the ball, changing direction. Decides he's going to make a break down the middle, slips the ball nicely. Beautiful break by Whitfield. Looking for support, but nobody anywhere near him. But it's a good strong run by Whitfield. And he's thrown to the ground with a cross-cutter. Gill inside, going to make a break on his own. And the referee is penalising him for not playing it correctly. Once again, referee says he threw it in between his legs. And all that advantage has gone after that surge down the field by Whitfield, who was really motoring as he went down the field there. Holmes once again finds it 8 yards from the halfway line. Creaser moving it across to both centres. Patterson tries to force his way through. Wigan defence up to the task there. Comes on to Dick. Dick sees a gap and he's through. Wigan opened up for him and eventually he's knocked to the ground by Whitfield. Kiss comes across to complete the tackle. Fullerton Smith moving it across. Holmes hands it on onto Ward. Ward trying to charge through, looking to get rid of the ball. Courtney forces him down almost on the halfway line. Dickinson onto Webb. Webb puts the kick and it's straight into touch. Scrum back with Wigan to feed just inside the Leeds half. Just about halfway through this first half. Holding feeds, coming out quickly to Cannon. To Whitfield trying to get up with him, it's Stevenson who doesn't take it cleanly. Ball still loose and not Leeds quick onto the loose ball. The referee says there's been a knock-off, but it will be Leeds to put in. Front rows manoeuvring, heaving and thrutching, trying to get the advantage for position as the referee keeps them apart until the last second. Ball shoots in, penalty for feeding, and rather blatant feeding. One wonders why these, I know the scrum halves have difficulty, their feet all over the place, but both scrum halves have been caught this afternoon quite a few times now. Ball's not coming away from the scrums at all cleanly. Whitfield bangs it into touch. Kiss has Courtney with him, and it's Courtney who's going to plough his way forward, runs into the forwards, comes to Holden, Holden hands it on to Scott. Scott dumming, short one to West, West gets it on to Cannon. Cannon snatched out of the air, and yes, the referee's going to penalise Dick for the high tackle. He snatched him out of the air, and the referee was right on the spot. Straight kick. Went high onto Cannon there into the tackle. Wigan looked dangerously for breaking through. This is one that should flirt over. If he's got his kicking boots on. Absolute straight kick just outside the 25. Don't come a lot easier than this one. And he's missed again. He hangs his head in disillusion. Let off for Leeds as Holmes comes up, tries a deep one. Edwards clearing his outside his 25, 10 yards, 20 yards, or he bounced down in a really thumping tackle there by Holmes. Kiss wanted a short one to come onto it hard, drive it in. Met equally hard by the Leeds forwards. Kiss onto Holden. Holden to Scott. Scott having to gets on to Gill. Gill with very little chance. Having to go back inside. Dummying. Good run by Gill. Gains him a lot of ground. From a no position. Took it standing still. Almost on the touchline. Kiss to Holden. Holden onto Cannon. Cannon moves it across the field. Onto West. West breaking. Onto Stevenson. Stevenson caught. Can't get moving. Onto Gill. Gill going to run it himself. running a bit crossfield, knocks off one, but he's followed from behind and has to die with it. That's the 5th tackle as Cannon puts a good grubber kick deep into the 25. Looking a little bit out of position there, and Cannon spotted it well as it was the last tackle and forced Leeds back into their own 25. Cut and thrust game this. Hard, grafting, tackling game, both sides going in hard. Shoots straight out to the side. No Leeds are feeding the line very flat in their own 25. Wigan not very deep, neither side really sure whether they're going to attack or not. Another penalty for feeding. Whitfield coming over. We're going to have a little confidence as to what they should do. Whitfield gains a few more yards, a few more precious yards of ground. 10 yards from the line. Kiss with Holding at first pass. And it's Holding who takes it onto Courtney. And Courtney slides, feet going from under him. Must be rather greasy on top. As Wigan do a switch onto Cannon. Cannon onto West. West driving, ball's gone astray. Once again, unsure handling. Dick to feed once more. Well, he put it in the middle this time. And the touch judge's flag is up. Ball straight through the back. Dick to feed again. And it's Dick's ball, gets it out to Holmes. Holmes running into the middle. Edwards spotted it well, came into the defence. Holmes plays it to himself, drives forward, giving his forwards time to regroup. Dick behind the play of the ball. Out to Webb. Webb moving it across the line. There's a gap. And he's through. Wigan chasing back. Coming across. And Holden is there. To take Heron. Made a good break there, Heron. Long pass. Out to Dick. Dick onto Holmes. Holmes moving it across onto Fullerton Smith. Fullerton Smith being taken. Wigan have covered across. Just inside the Wigan half. Wilkinson moves it inside. Holmes. That little short pass on to Dick. Dick get on to Webb. And there's a gap again. Whitfield trying to cover it. And the ball's whipped again. Leeds keeping it moving well at the moment. Dick running into trouble this time. Well, Wigan a little bit bunched. Webb waiting for the play of the ball. Long passes on to Holmes. Holmes changing direction. Back onto Heron. Heron trying to come down the middle. And he's put down by Kiss in the 5th tackle. A little bit of indecision there by Leeds. It comes to Ward. Ward flings it to Holmes. Holmes puts a little dangerous grubber kick here. And Edwards drops on that very bravely. As Hunt was coming tearing into him. Wigan forwards keeping it tight, trying to bring it away. Leeds lining up, moving in quickly. The ball goes to Cannon. Cannon hands it on to Stevenson. Stevenson trying to make a break. Coming. Gains his 10 yards of ground before he's bowled over to Ferguson. Ferguson decides he's going to make a run from acting half-back. Still on his feet. Strong and elusive. Comes out to Holden. Holden moves it across. Onto Potter. Potter having a run. A short pass. Onto Scott. Scott out onto Whitfield. And the Leeds player being cautioned. No, Wigan being cautioned for obstruction. Player going through without the ball. Half an hour gone. Holmes takes play just outside the Wigan 25. Wall being formed by 4 of the forwards. Onto Dick. And does break them. Looks as if Holmes had gone through. A bit of aggro going on among the forwards, but Leeds are on the attack. Played to Wilkinson. Wilkinson out to Dick. Dick to Holmes. Holmes a short pass. Webb going through. The ball's gone through. Still astray. The referee's going to give the knock on. Leeds looked very menacing, very powerful then as they came through in the Wigan 25. And now Leeds in a strong attacking position. Holden coming round to feed the scrum. And he's penalised, in a lot of trouble with both scrum halves. No confidence in the hookers. Dick onto Ward. Ward running straight and hard, drawing the Wigan pack in. Break by Dick from acting half-back, driving hard for the line, held close on the Wigan line. And the acting half-back tries to dive over, and it's Webb, and the referee's given it. West's not happy about that. The acting half-back Webb, first time they've been near the Wigan line, bashed his way over, no other word for it, bulldozed, bludgeoned, bollocked his way over. And so after all the pressure that Wigan have put on, Leeds go into a 4-0 lead. A try by Webb. Well, I would think that 80% of this game has been played inside the Leeds half. As soon as Leeds got near the Wigan line, the Wigan defence cracked. Creaser, a not too difficult kick. Wigan missed 2 easy ones and 1 difficult one. This is Creaser's first attempt, an easy effort, should be just 10 yards to the right of the post. And there's the extra 2 points. At 33 minutes gone. Leeds 6, Wigan 0. So first blood to Leeds. Referee having a word with Ward and Dickinson. And Case. There was a little bit of a fracas early on after that walk penalty kick had been taken where the wall was. Referee said he's not standing for it. Whitfield tries a long ball into the try line, well trapped. Leeds are making sure of it, coming away hard. Case and Courtney going to the tackle. Ward waiting, acting half-back. Dickinson coming on to it, running a little bit wide. Scott hanging on to him. They have a bit of bother getting him down, but eventually he's forced onto the deck. Ward waiting behind to play the ball. Short pass, and it's loose. Referee says play on. Wigan played it back. Back to Dick. Wigan should have had that loose ball. Back to 1. Ward moving it across. Leeds being held at the moment around their own 25. Long one back to Holmes. Puts the kick behind the defence. Gill having to go back for it. Edwards is there. Gill takes it. Cutting infield. There's plenty of defence there. And he's cut in 2 by both centres. Whitfield having to run it out from acting half-back, and his feet slip from under him. Case gets it out to Holden. Holden onto Case. Case running crabwise onto Ferguson. Ferguson trying to make the break, and he's through. He got the legs. Nobody get over him. He's going for the line, and he's still going. A tremendous throw by Ferguson, and he scored. A great by Ferguson. Purely individual effort from nothing at all. With speed and power and determination, he powered his way down the wing. Leeds having a player out of the fray at the time as the 2 centres went in to tackle the Wigan man. One of them got hurt, but that was a great run by Leeds to pull Wigan right back into the game almost immediately after Leeds had scored. 10 yards in from the touchline. Can Whitfield level the score almost on half-time? Great roar of applause from the many Wigan spectators who are here. Few minutes still to go to half-time. Curry in a bit of trouble. The Leeds centre looking rather shaken. He's lifted it and pulled it. Well, Wigan not getting the points that they should be getting from the goal kicking. 2 points behind then, with just a few minutes to go to half-time. Leeds 6, Wigan 4, and that was an exciting try. Amazing that one that was just bashed over line brought 6 points, and a run like that only finishes up with 4. However, it's Dick to restart the game. Nothing in this game at the moment as Dick tries a long one. Edwards is there, takes it clean in his own in-goal area. Moves beautifully, top of the field runner, gets up to the 25 line before he's down. Kiss to Potter. Potter trying to bring the ball away, doesn't get very far. The Leeds defence strong and sure going into the tackle as Holding moves it, a high one to Cannon. Cannon hands it on to Scott. Scott trying to break through. Wigan going cross-field and not penetrating at the moment. The ball's played to Cannon. Cannon, a long one onto West. West coming back inside, smothered by both Leeds props. Cannon running it himself, gets it out onto Holden. Holden, a long one to Stevenson. Stevenson bringing it, any dummies to bring Ferguson inside. That's the 5th tackle. Ferguson moves it inside. Kick, but it's well covered as the ball goes short into the halfway line. Wilkinson picking it up, running out strongly to the wing. Whitfield is there to force him down to the ground on the halfway line. Haig waiting behind to play the ball, decides he's going to make a run. And eventually Graham West hangs on to him, won't let him go. Dick moves it to Ward. Ward to Dickinson. Dickinson coming hard, stopped dead in his tracks by the Wigan props. Ward moves it out onto Webb. Webb gets it across onto Patterson. Patterson being taken. And now it's Leeds who are really not denting the Wigan defence. Aaron making a nice sharp break, gets a good pass in onto Fullerton Smith. Fullerton Smith turning it inside. The ball's offside, he's offside. Referee's given an offside. But a danger to Wigan there. Let off for Wigan on their own 25 as Leeds side through very cleanly there. Tried to keep the ball moving and it went astray. It was picked up in an offside position. Kiss has caught, he's just going to plough his way forward. No, he gets it past for a change and it comes on to Potter. Potter managed to get the ball moving onto West. West out to Whitfield, taking it well. Whitfield bringing Gill inside. That was good handling by Whitfield. Gill still going powerfully. Great done by Gill. Eventually runs into the fullback, who forces him down to the ground. But there was menace there in that run from Gill. Kiss to Holden. Holden to Scott. Back onto Holden. Holden onto West. West having to come back inside. Driving into it now. Looking for support. Can't get rid of the ball, but Wigan showing a lot more power and menace now as it comes onto Potter. Potter onto Cannon. Cannon a long one onto Whitfield. Whitfield gets it onto Gill. It was not a good pass. And it's gone astray and they've let it go. And it's eventually picked up by loose forward Heron. Wigan turned on the heat then just before half-time. Ward trying to clear his 25. Wigan trying to pin them down there, pin them down on the 25 line. Ball's played back to Ward. Ward moves it across. Wilkinson going strongly, gets away from Courtney. But West is there with Kiss, trying to drive him back. And eventually Kiss forces him down to the deck. Wilkinson on to Dickinson. Dickinson well taken, low and hard. Kick behind the Wigan defence. Edwards having to backtrack, takes it well. Good catch on the turn. Coming out to the Gill wing. Well tackled by Creaser. Gill behind the play, the ball. Decided he's going to go on his own. Can't get away from Creaser this time. Potter onto Scott. No, it's a long one. It's gone astray. Case having to go back for it. Drops on it. He regains his feet. Still driving his way forward. Good recovery by Case. The referee says they're back to 1 as it goes on to Holding. Holding, short pass onto West. West trying again. He's broken through again. Coming strongly. Managed to slip the ball quickly and Wigan moving it into attack quickly as it comes out to Holding to Cannon. Cannon to Scott. Scott juggling with it. Managed to regain possession. Turns it back inside. Cannon on to Holding. Holding a short one to Ferguson. trying to come down the middle, but the forwards are there to force him down. And there's a penalty. They wanted to get on with it quickly, and Heron hung on to him. Now there's a chance, right on the stroke of half-time, for Wigan to level the scores. This is another easy kick. Oh, I suppose none of them are easy with the pressure and the tension and the stress of a cup tie like this, which has been so hardly fought and cleanly fought. Been a very good game so far. Oh, nearly all the penalties that have been given have been technical offences, feeding and feet up, and hanging on to the tackled players. Can Whitfield make amends here and level the score for Wigan? Had a good game in the loose, Whitfield, apart from his kicking. He's lifted that high, and it's in the upright. Oh, how bad luck can you get? And it's Leeds who've got the possession, coming away strongly. Leeds probably keeping it tight now in their own 25. Wigan going in, trying to push them over to the touchline. Dickinson, big prop forward. Well tackled by Potter. As he came strongly onto it. Ward moves it across. Webb hands it on. And Wigan go crunching in again. And there for the end of a very, very good first half. With a score, Leeds 6, Wigan 4. A real entertaining first half.
Something's definitely wrong. It's played going now. And every time I press the button, I have to look at it because it's still on forward. Keeps working back, so can't let me not to kick in there. You know, to make possession on now. You know, that's why I keep taping, I I'm hoping it does. I'm hoping it's picked up. I don't know, you know. I've never had this problem with it before. Never. I don't know what it is.
A little bit.
That's what it's all about.
So we come to the start of the second half, and here making this film, we're keeping our fingers crossed that when you come to watch it, that it's all on. We're having a little bit of trouble with the recording apparatus. It seems to be going in fits and starts. However, we'll keep pressing on with the film in the hope that you are able to watch it. Really good first half, most enjoyable game, good rugby, good hard rugby, clean rugby being played by both sides, extremely entertaining, extremely exciting as Whitfield comes up. Wigan this half playing from left to right, Whitfield to restart. And substitutes have been made, I think. And Lulham has come on and Dick has come off. Referee blows up for the start, Whitfield along the deck. Not really deep enough. Leeds come tearing up to the 25 line. Dickinson running a bit wide, being taken by Kiss and West. Ward moving across, short pass from Webb. Leeds driving forward, having a job putting Patterson down. Wigan half-back struggling now with Patterson. Webb moves it across, forwards coming tearing in, and Scott crowded there as Scott took him, and it wasn't all that high. Little overhead kick, well gathered by Kiss. Holden to Case. Case on his own, Wigan forwards not following him, managed to get back onto Holden. Holden out to West. West driving forward over the halfway line. Succumbs to the tackles of the Leeds forwards. Kiss going through from acting half-back, gets 5 yards of ground. Holding coming up to distribute the ball. Out to Potter, Potter going to take them on, trying to break through to turn it back inside, still struggling his way. Kiss looking in agony on the ground as the trainer goes on. Wigan moving it across onto Cannon, Cannon jumping, out onto Ferguson who's come in the middle, bounces off one, bounces off another. Tremendous run again by Ferguson. Appeared like a miracle. Gill going through on the last tackle. Going to get caught, he's going to have to surrender the ball. Leeds with it, 15 yards out from the line. Gill's into the tackle. Kiss looking shaken. Dickinson tries to come driving through. Courtney goes in with Scott. Ward moving it across, short pass, forward turning inside, West comes across. Good crunching tackle between him and Cannon. Hunt going in the middle of the field, probably wishes he hadn't, as the Wigan forward driving back to his own try line. Ball lobbed back. High kick, Edwards having to go back for it. What an awkward bounce for him, having to retreat to his own 25. Bags the defence up there as he tried to drive his way through the middle. Picked up in the air and hurled down. Whitfield going to have to keep it tight, I think, going through from acting half-back. Can't get very far as the Wigan forwards come back. Handed on to Potter. Potter runs into trouble. Kiss back in the fray. Onto Holden. Holden putting a little grubber kick through there. We're not going to be able to reach it first as it's dropped on by Lulham. Wilkinson to Dickinson. Dickinson coming driving forward. Big, strong lad. The Wigan forwards having a job to put him down. Ward. Out to Webb. Webb holding it. Obstruction, I think. Yes, the referee's given it. Penalty to Wigan for obstruction. Once again, Whitfield going to try for goal. Raises his eyes up as if in prayer. Graham West laying the law down to his team as to what he wants them to do. 4 minutes gone. 10 yards inside the Leeds half, this kick. Lifted it high, and that's gone wide, being run out by Leeds. Once again, Wigan failed with the kick. Wilkinson coming strongly. Kiss trying to steal the ball. Ward. And Leeds have been taking a lot of pressure this half. In and around their own 25. Dickinson coming powerfully again. Now he has to Giel. Ward moving it across the field. Straightening up. Break. Nearly through. Wigan just managed to hang on to Heron's ankles. Ward moving it across. Lull on the long pass. Holmes onto Wilkinson. Wilkinson being taken. Can't get his pass in. That is the fifth tackle. Webb gets it back to Holmes. Holmes. Awkward one this for Gale. Takes it well. Coming inside. Lot of cover there. Running a bit wide before he straightens up. And he's collared from behind and has to go down with it. Kiss to Holding. Holding to West. West coming back down the middle. Made some strong runs down the middle of the field this afternoon. Wigan getting ready to make a substitute. Holding again, tries to put a kick through. It's been played on. Wigan still got it moving up to Gill. Got the look at rubber the green now, Wigan. And Wigan going to bring Kiss off and put John Pelmery on. So we're playing without the hooker. Courtney driving his way forward. Kiss. To Holding. Holding to Cannon. Cannon onto Whitfield. And Wigan slow moving the ball across. Nobody coming onto it that time. Now Cannon decides he's got to make a break. Doesn't get very far. Kiss waiting for the play of the ball. Kiss to Holding. Holding onto Scott. Scott a short one. Case couldn't take it. Leeds glad to get that ball back. All the play at the moment in the Leeds half. And Dickinson tries to come crashing through again. Cannon's in to help Courtney put him down. Ward dummying from behind the play of the ball. Kiss just playing token football at the moment. I think he's quite hurt. Long passing onto Holmes. Holmes has beautifully timed pass as ever. Wigan following them from behind. Good play by Leeds as he surged down the field now. Once again Holmes setting it up. And here he comes again. Gap here. And the ball's gone loose and Stevenson drops on and it slopes away. And it rolled into touch, and now perhaps a substitution will be made. Kiss coming off. Pendlebury will go hooker. Play anywhere, Pendlebury. Wigan to feed the scrum. Shoots straight out to Wigan and penalised for it. Hardly a clean scrum this afternoon. Nearly every time the scrum half has been penalised. Hunt hands it on to Holmes. And now it's Leeds who are in a good attacking position. Long pass goes out to Creasy. Creasy onto Holmes, then onto the forwards who've been lining out a long way. Ball was handled by the backs initially. Now it's Dickinson coming, barging onto it. Holding hanging onto him like a gnat on an elephant. Short one, Lunham moves the ball across. Webb, a long pass. There's a big overlap here. The ball comes out to Hunt on the wing. Hunt going inside, gets away from Case. Running crossfield, tries to straighten up, managed to get the ball moving, just throws it away onto Holmes. Holmes wondering who he should give it to as he runs crossfield. And Wigan forcing them from side to side. Ward waiting behind the play of the ball. Gets it out onto Heron. Heron a long pass onto Wilkinson. Wilkinson trying to make the break. Well followed by Pendlebury. Hunt behind the play. There was an awful gap in the Wigan defence. Hunt's seen it. He's trying to go through it. And he got through it. The gap was there. Goes on to Lulham. Lulham put down by Ferguson. Wigan were thin on the ground there. Referee pointing to a Wigan player hanging on to his shirt. Ward wanting the kick for goal, I think. Rolling over Creaser. Another petty penalty given away. Leeds 6, Wigan 4. 10 minutes of the second half gone as Creaser prepares to try and increase the lead to 4 points. Wigan could well have been in front if they'd taken the advantage of the penalty kicks. They've missed every single one this afternoon. Creaser then. Important kick. Crowd go very quiet. And it looks a good one. And it's just hit the post and gone out. Well, it looked all the way and then suddenly it swerved. A very high ball, caught the upright and went out. And Wigan score then, still Leeds 6, Wigan 4 as Whitfield up to the 25 line. Drives a long one. Wilkinson having to go back for it. That was a good long kick by Whitfield. Driven them right back into the Leeds half. Wilkinson ties with it just outside his own 25. Ward back there as acting half-back. Moves it inside. Case goes in, nobody managed to get his pass in. And there's a large gap here as Oldham tries to push them sideways. Stevenson has gone inside to smother home. Ward onto Dickinson. Dickinson coming driving. Potter goes in, he managed to get his pass inside. Cannon going in to take on Curry. Played back to Ward. Ward moves it across. Webb gets it across onto Patterson. Patterson easily wrapped up by Scott. Lulham waiting for the play of the ball. Moves it out onto Webb. Webb puts the kick behind the defence, straight into touch. The second time he's banged it straight into touch. Now what can Wigan do with Pendlebury as hooker? 10 yards outside the 25 line. Coming out, straight through. Referee's let it go. No, he said it straight through. It had been picked up by the loose forward. Very unusual in professional rugby for the ball to go straight through the pack. Happened a couple of times this afternoon. Well, Heron was away very quickly on that loose ball. So we try once again. Shot straight, and he's penalised again. Nearly every scrum this is happening this afternoon by both scrum halves. Holmes makes absolutely sure that Judge marks it right on the halfway line. Ward to Dickinson, driving forward as ever. Pendlebury takes him. Ward again attacked in half-back. Out to Webb. Webb onto Patterson. Patterson coming driving in. Wigan forwards are up to the task. Ward again out to Webb. Webb holding it. Bringing them back inside. Fullerton Smith nearly got away then, but he was eventually forced to the ground. And now the Leeds forward turning on a lot of power. Fulham tries to break through. Good run by Fulham. Bringing it inside. Wigan backpedaling in a lot of trouble. Pushed back near to their own try line. It comes out. Long one out to Heron. Heron trying to go on his own through. Being followed by West Coast Saunders. It looked like an obstruction, but it's gone to the wingman. Going hard for the line. Referee says that's the fifth tackle. As Ward tries a drop goal, he's been charged down, he knocks it back. Onto Fullerton Smith, driving forward. The referee says we're back to 1. So Leeds a chance here to pile it on as Dickinson goes driving in. Wigan trying to smother him, make sure he doesn't slip it. Wigan under a lot of pressure at the moment as Ward moves it out onto Webb. Leeds driving in hard, slipping the ball, there's a big gap here. And Ferguson knocked the ball down back to Leeds. Leeds going for the line, cutting inside, jumping his way. Edwards hanging on to it. And the referee said we're back to 1 again. So Wigan under tremendous pressure as the ball goes across the line. And Webb trying to go for the line. It's gone astray and Pendlebury had it. The referee says it's gone forward. And Wigan have not got possession. Must have been touched by a Wigan player before it went to Pendlebury. Referee said it went forward. So we scrum down 5 yards out from the Wigan line. Wigan desperate for possession here. Shoots straight out the side of the scrum. We'll have to go in again. Quarter of an hour gone. Wigan with the backs to the wall. Holding puts the ball, it shoots straight out to him. And he's penalised again. Penalty to Leeds. 5 yards out from the Wigan line. Wigan going to have to defend like mad here again. Been playing without the ball now for a long time. As Ward gets it to Webb. Webb trying to force his way over. Battering away at the Wigan line. Ward moves it across. Dickinson now trying to crash. Gets it onto Webb. He's held just short. Ward, long pass. Stretching Wigan. Switch back inside. The referee says it's a forward pass. Ball was switched in back inside. The referee said it was forward. And everybody seemed to sag. Can Holding get it into the middle this time to the referee's satisfaction? Ball shoots out to Leeds, 1-1 against the head. They go for the line. Edwards goes across to take his man. Holding put the ball in before Izuka was down. Wilkinson trying to crash his way over. And he's hurled back from the line. And Wigan in all sorts of trouble. Long pass out to Webb. Webb moving across to Holmes. Holmes a short one. Onto Fullerton Smith trying to crash his way over. And Wigan defending with half the vote. It goes to onto Dickinson. Dickinson a short pass. Holmes changing direction. And Case is in there to take his man. Leeds really turning it on as it goes on to Heron. Heron a long one to Holmes. Holmes onto, and it's been dropped and knocked on. Well, how long can this Wigan defence hold? How long can they play without the ball? And it's been all Leeds for the last 10 minutes, had all the possession. Back wheeling. Referee said it's not come out properly as Holding brings it away. Ball got to go in again. Holding gets it out to Cannon. Cannon trying to make a break. Back onto Holding. Holding onto Whitfield. Onto Stevenson. He's smothered as he gets the ball. Wigan will be glad to have hold of it. And Ferguson got a penalty to Wigan for hanging on in the tackle. Give them a chance to get further away from the line. Whitfield can make sure it goes into touch, and that he does. Well, Wigan withstood tremendous pressure there from Leeds. John Pendlebury coming up, taking the place of Kiss. Onto Holding. Holding onto Courtney. Lumbers forward. John Pendlebury onto Holding. Holding to Graham West, doing the run around. West going to go down the middle. Gets it onto Scott. Scott changing direction. Onto Potter. Potter trying to break. Followed from behind and has to dive with the ball. Back to Gill. Gill going to try and make a run down the middle, but there's bags of cover there. Gets the ball out onto Holding. Holding holding it. High pass onto Stevenson. Good break by Stevenson. Going back inside. Plenty of cover there. Holmes hanging on to him. Buries him. Referee going over to see what's happening. Ferguson's come up to act in half-back. Inside. Holding onto Case. A bit high. And Wigan's passing a bit, so it goes to West. West coming down the middle. Slips it up to Whitfield. Can Gill get rid of it? No, he's followed from behind and he can't get rid of the ball. Potter inside to Case. Case onto Pendlebury. Pendlebury running wide with it. Managed to get it onto Cannon. Cannon holding it. jumping with it, brings Stevenson inside. Stevenson still on his feet, and that's the 5th tackle. Cannon puts an overhead kick here, Ferguson chasing it. Comes to Wilkinson, gets away from Ferguson. Wilkinson coming strongly. Stevenson goes in and tosses him low and hard. Back to Curry. Curry moves it inside. On to Hunt, who's gone inside. Hunt gets it onto Ward. Ward gets it onto Lulham. Lulham nearly through there. He's knocked down. Graham West goes over and he's lost the ball. Goes out to Edwards. Edwards going powerfully. Timed his pass nicely. Onto Holding, and Holding is bounced down. And the referee giving the penalty for pulling the ball off him. Whitfield saying, what shall I do? Dare I take another kick and goal? Stevenson been shaken in the tackle, needing attention. And Wigan put it into touch. Stevenson not sure what day it is. Wigan now going to an attacking position inside the 25. Exactly halfway through this second half. Pendlebury to Courtney. Courtney running in. And he's lost the ball. West is up there. But Leeds have got it back inside their own 25. Wigan trying to push them over the touchline, and to do so, good shove there by Case, covered across well. Forcing Leeds into touch. Both sides were desperate for this ball at this scrum. Leeds lying up very, very flat. They've won it, and it's a penalty to Wigan for feet up. Leeds have won one against the head. Hardly a clean scrum this afternoon. Whitfield going to put it a little bit nearer to the line. Gains a few more precious yards. This time it's Case who's going to be taking it. Courtney did it the last time, lost the ball. This time it's Case going to take them on. Going in powerfully, drives his way forward. Coming out to Holden, Holden to Scott. Scott jumping it onto West. West trying to crash his way through. Not coming off. Played it. He's penalised. He does it so often. And he's lost another 10 yards. He doesn't get up to play the ball. He keeps one knee on the deck. And that's a let-off again for Leeds. Holmes makes absolutely sure of it. All over the stand, having a bit of a delay. Ward with the tap. To Dickinson. Dickinson jumps and he's lost it. Wigan have got it. Well, that's bad play by Leeds. Both sides have been guilty of these errors. Wigan going round the narrow side as Case tries to crash it, lets the ball go onto the floor. A lot of tension out there as Gill moves it inside, holding onto Courtney. Courtney turning, one-handed onto Scott. Scott's still going, and Scott's lost the ball. Well, there are a lot of jagged nerves. The ball's gone loose again, and Wigan penalised. Penalised for stealing the ball. A lot of talking going on in the Leeds ranks. Players not happy with that ball. Referee sent for another ball. Holmes to put it into touch. Just on the halfway line. 25 minutes gone, quarter of an hour remaining, 2 points still in it. Tight in the forwards. Oswald moves it across. Short one on forward, trying to bash the way through. His big strong forward is Dickens, pulling his way out of the tackle. Heron trying to make a break. smothered, has to go down. Oh, and West has given another penalty away. Judge is coming on, rubbing his face in it. Kickable penalty. Crease are going to kick for goal. Leeds leading by 2 points, 6 points to 4. This game very tense, very close. Both kickers have hit the upright this afternoon. These kicks could well decide who goes into the next round. And he's pulled that one. Neither goal kicker showing as much today. Whitfield, last kick was a tremendous boot right down the middle. Not as far this one, but we take cleanly on the 25. Wigan defence moves up to the halfway line to take Creaser, and he has to dive with the ball underneath Benderbury and Case. Short pass, Patterson turning and twisting, has to dive with the ball. On to Dickinson driving in, and it's Little Holden who's having to hang on to him. Wigan warming up another forward, Ryan Dunn warming up. The ball goes out, Webb moves it across. Onto Heron. Heron being followed by Scott. Onto Holmes. Scott hanging on to him. And he's picked up in the air and bounced by Potter. Hunt's gone right into the middle of the field. Lobs it out. Webb kicks behind the defence. And Edwards keeping it. It's not going to go in touch. Edwards takes it near his own try line. There's a lot of cover there. He's running it out. He's followed from behind. Can't get very far. Ferguson attacks in half-back. He's going to have to run it. Still coming. Gains a good 10 yards of ground, and it's Gale who's gone acting half-back. But it's Penbury who takes it. Gets it onto Courtney. Not very powerful. Penbury to Scott. Scott coming driving forward. He's picked up and bounced down by Heron. Penbury to Holden. Holden to Case. Case on to West, a long one. West trying to drive his way through. Wigan struggling, that's the fifth tackle. As Penbury throws it back onto Whitfield. Whitfield managed to get his kick in. Wilkinson has it covered. Wilkinson, big strong fullback, coming up to the halfway line, and Courtney takes him. Plays it to himself, charging forward. Gains a couple of yards before he's put down by Penbury. Ward moving it out. Onto Hunt coming inside. Ward keeping it going that way. I think forwards good driving forward. Fullerton Smith. Almost up to the 25. Long pass comes out along the floor. Loose forward turning it well inside. Down in Benchie, the smothered. And they've lost the ball. Wigan have gained possession on their own 25. Potter trying to bring it away, crashing his way forward. Pendlebury moves it to Holden. Holden onto Cannon, who's only handing it on to Edwards. Onto Ferguson. Ferguson having to go back inside. Good break by Ferguson. He powers his way through. Still going up to the halfway line. And that was a good run by Ferguson. Pendlebury to Holden. Holden to Gill. Gill going to try and come down the middle. Feet slip from under him, but he doesn't get very far. Pendlebury to Holden. Holden on to Scott. Scott on to West. West coming ploughing his way forward. That's the fifth tackle. On to Cannon. Cannon puts a grubber kick in. Not going to be able to reach it, and it's covered by Leeds. Back to their own 25. Holmes holding it. Times his pass nicely. Sends Wilkinson up coming in the middle. Edwards does enough to hold him. Played quickly. Curry going through. Scott hanging on to him. Manages to force him down. Leeds back in the Wigan half. They've got a lot of territorial advantage this half of the game. Goes on to Lulham. Lulham trying to come through the middle. Buried by the Wigan forward, but almost up to the Wigan 25 again. Comes to Heron. Heron a long pass on to Holmes. Holmes turning back inside. Dancing his way. West managed to take, but he gets his pass in. Dickinson bringing Lulham inside. Streaking down the middle. And they're up to the Wigan 25 as Ward moves it out onto Heron. Heron holding it, jumping, going back inside, looking for support. He's put down in the fifth tackle, right in front of the Wigan post. Holmes is screaming for it, and it comes out to him, holding it. And he's going to get caught in possession. Lets the ball go, Wigan have got it. They would have had it even if he'd been caught. Ferguson come to act in half-back. Running through, but his bags are covered there as he goes sideways, tries to come down the middle, but can't, like running through a brick wall, and we're back to one, the referee says. As Penderbury switches it to Case. Case running back into it. Leeds holding Wigan well at the moment. Potter now comes driving in into the forward, looking for support, gets in onto Case. Case still struggling, and Wigan have got outside the 25. Pendlebury to Holding. Holding to Cannon. Cannon just hands it on to Edwards, not done much in the way of break. Edwards turning back inside, sees a gap, tries to go through it, can't get rid of it. Gill was following him. Gill's gone to act in half-back. Wigan bunch very closely together as Gill decides he's going to try and make a break. And Wigan playing in despair, playing one-man rugby, and that's the fifth tackle. As it's flung back to Whitfield. Whitfield a deep kick into the 25, it's rolling, but Wilkinson has it covered. And he kicks it back to his own line. Leeds push back into their own 25. There are a lot of Wigan players up there, and they take him well. Hunt coming strongly across the field. He's only running wide and not getting anywhere. Lost ground, in fact, as he ran across the field from acting half-back. Lulham trying to bring it away, gets his pass into the cap a mile wide. A trouble here for Wigan. As Edwards goes in to take his man. Wigan would split wide open there. Ward behind to play the ball, keeping it moving out for this wing. Holmes coming strongly, and he makes his break, gets it inside, to Hunt, that's the name of the cup in one field. Great bet by Holmes down this wing, tremendous break by Holmes, off to Hunt, and the Wigan defence has had to yield to the second try. 32 minutes gone. Leeds into a 10 points to 4 lead. Well, that was a tremendous break by Holmes. And Hunt finished off well. Well, Wigan will need a miracle now to get back into this game. A good game, an exciting game, some good football played, and that was a good try. And Holmes has had a great game, overshadowed our half-back. Creaser then, and it's missed, so it's still a numerical possibility. 10-4, we can only need a converted try, but haven't really looked like getting it. Been playing a bit of one-man rugby in the middle of the field, acting half-back, coming away with the ball on their own, and it's not been paying off against a strong Leeds defence. About 6-7 minutes to go then. Leeds 10, Wigan 4. Whitfield rides a long one straight down the field into the in-goal area. Referee says he knocked on, so it's a drop out from under the post. Holmes to drop out. Down the middle. Edwards and Cannon are there. Cannon who takes it. And he's put a little overhead kick in here. And the ball's loose. And he's offside. Penalty to Wigan. Right underneath the post. Penbury takes the tap onto Holden. Wigan wanting the try. He goes out onto Courtney. Courtney being smothered. Can't get moving. Pendlebury to Case. Case driving forward. Turning it inside to West. West coming hard onto the ball. Wigan have not yielded as it comes out onto Holding. Scott dummying, trying to go through on his own. Still going hard. Gets it onto Pendlebury. Pendlebury goes driving for the line. Holding, turns it inside to West. West trying to slip the pass. And Wigan are held just short of the line. Pendlebury trying to batter his way over. He's not got the power there. The cover defence is on. Wigan move it across onto Cannon. Cannon puts little overhead kick. And it's a penalty to Wigan as it knocks Whitfield out of the way. Penalty to Wigan. A couple of yards out from the line, so they can have another 6 goals at this try line. Holding takes a tap onto Cannon. Cannon trying to go on his own, bringing Ferguson inside. Ferguson still struggling, trying to drag his way over. Gets it out onto Holden. Holden diving. Both thrown the ball away and thrown it to Leeds. Well, that must be Wigan's. And the penalty. Mind you, went down like a graduate of Rada then. Olivier would have been proud of that dive. Wigan with the penalty. Courtney turning it inside to West. And he's lost the ball, I think. And a penalty against Wigan. Right under the post. Wigan trying to crash the way over. Perhaps a few slick passes might have opened it up. About 3 minutes to go. Holmes to clear his line with the penalty. Makes absolutely sure. Leeds then got away from their own line, withstood that heavy Wigan pressure. Ward keeping it tight now. What we have, we hold. Acting arm back again. Happy to keep possession and keep the 6-point tattles going with a 6-point lead. Webb trying to come through. Potter hanging on to him. Ward behind the play the ball. To Holmes. Holmes kicks. Straight down Edwards' throat. This must be Wigan's last dying effort as Edwards tries to go down the middle. Buried underneath the Leeds defence. Whitfield to Potter and they're offside. Wigan need to get this in touch. Whitfield coming up. Good long raking kick, takes it into the 25 line. Pendlebury to Courtney. Courtney going on his own, trying to drive his way through. To Pendlebury. Pendlebury to Case. Case going, driving at them. Gets it back up to Pendlebury. Pendlebury dancing his way. Can't just get over. Yard or two short. And the gap had appeared then. As Ferguson out onto Holding. Holding to Potter. Potter a short one. Wigan is snatched out of the air. Moving it across onto Holding. Holding to Ferguson. Ferguson to Case. Case turning it inside onto Cannon. Cannon dancing and turning and twisting. And his ankles knocked from underneath him. Graham West behind the play of the ball. Trying to go on his own. Held short of the line. 5th tackle as Cannon puts an overhead kick in which is neither use nor ornament. It's caught by Holmes over his own line. So it's a drop out from under the post with the seconds ticking away. Referee telling him to get on with the game. Well, Wigan have turned it on. They haven't given up. They haven't yielded. Comes to Scott. Scott coming, turning in, driving in. Well tackled round the ankles. Pendlebury, short one onto Potter. Potter dragging his way forward, throws the ball back. Bounces nicely for Case. Onto Pendlebury going for the line. And he's held 5 yards out. This is do or die stuff as Ferguson hands off one. Turns it back inside. Long low pass on to Case. Case to West. West driving for the line. Has his arms locked. Can't get it moving. Stevenson gone acting half back. Onto Holding. Onto Cannon. Cannon dumbing with it. Holding gets it out onto Pendlebury. And Pendlebury's well cut into by Lulham. Ferguson line hurt on the ground as Holding trying to dance his way, caught in possession, a wasted tackle. Referee signalling it's the 5th one. As Pendlebury moves it across, Cannon hoists one over the line. And it's caught on the dead ball, so it's another drop out underneath the post. And now surely we are in injury time. Wigan 6 points behind. Today's attendance 9,248. As Holmes comes up, tries another deep one, coming to Edwards, on the halfway, Ferguson looking very weary, as Edwards decides he's going to try and make a break, but one feels that Wigan's bolt has probably been shot, as Ferguson goes to half-back, trying to make a run again, turns it inside onto West, West coming hard up to the 25 line, Wigan giving it all they've got in these dying seconds. And it's a break by Pendlebury from acting half-back. And there goes the Wigan out of this cup tie. A great cup tie, nothing to be ashamed of. Gave tremendous effort, a really good game between two good sides. And so Wigan go out to the second round of the John Player Trophy. Leeds 10, Wigan 4. And as the players strip off after this really exciting cup tie, this is your commentator John McDermott, hoping that you've enjoyed watching this film made by your cameraman Brian Worthington, and hoping sincerely that it has recorded.
Jade leaves hospital and gets home to the best surprise.
Welcome home, Mummy!
How about to talk to someone?
And the bank feels the full force of
Mrs. Jade Goody.
Yeah, trying to act like I'm not scared because otherwise I'd just collapse. Just seeing his picture scared me. Started drinking heavily then.
He really hurt you, didn't he?
Memories of my ex-husband beating me up, raping me, love to forget it all. They've all conquered the fears and all that lot. It's just making me feel like the weakest person in the bunch, the most scared out of everybody. I don't think it's going to work for me because I can't live like this.
Rowetta enters rehab. Wednesday at 9, only on Living.
This is 80s Nightclub. The biggest 80s tracks all mixed on 3 CDs. Featuring Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Duran Duran, The Pet Shop Boys, and many more. Over 50 tracks of the 80s biggest hits. 80s Nightclub, out now.
At British Gas, we know that your home is your world, and you're doing your bit to make it greener. So it's good to know we're doing our bit too, like building the world's largest offshore wind farm, helping provide you with renewable and affordable energy for the future. Find out more at britishgas.co.uk. Look after your world with British Gas.
Wave hello to the new Neutrogena Wave, the revolutionary vibrating cleanser. It feels like the gentle vibrations open pores to clean deep down and remove dirt, oil, and makeup.
For me, nothing cleanses like the Wave. My skin looks softer right away.
The new Wave Power Cleanser from Neutrogena.
She's a fish out of
So I get new in town.
Sackler.
Hiya. Oh, hiya. This week, Colleen's holidays take their toll. Reveal only 99p.
It's not been easy. Making friends. Being wicked doesn't really help. Then I met Vicky.
She's different to the other kind of friends I've had.
I am who I am because of Vicky.
I feel like you're in that boat. Just like doing stuff together. Yeah, really good sense of humor.
We go to the cinema a lot. Yeah, use a scoop. Orange do a 2-for-1 offer on a Wednesday, so we always go.
We don't have the exact same taste.
I like romantic comedies and films about dirty cops.
2-for-1 cinema tickets. Any customer, any mate, any Wednesday. Orange.
This is Misha. This is her a few weeks ago. This is her lucky day. This is her now. But there are still thousands of abandoned dogs out there. So when you buy any pedigree product, we'll make a donation to help more dogs like Misha find loving homes. Support the pedigree adoption drive, and you too can be one dog happy.
Here, Churchill, can I really count on you for award-winning car insurance with a price that won't go up next year?
Oh, yes.
And UK call centres?
Oh, yes. Yeah, you can't believe everything he says. He told me he's going for a curry with Roy Walker. Oh, yes. It's good, but it's not right. I ordered a korma.
For car insurance that won't go up next year, count on Churchill. Call or go online.
This is Cycle 11. You just don't know what's gonna happen anymore.
Tonight, there's one little twist. You will be blindfolded.
As the competition gets harder, so does the criticism.
I told her 15 times not to do that. You do bitchy really well. Less posy.
Modeling!
Doesn't look pretty at all.
I'm just completely deflated right now.
America's Next Top Model continues Monday at 9 on Living.
I do worry, because obviously the boys worry about and we'd like her home with us. But she's 100% safe there. But that one phone call of, oh Jade, are you coming home? And she says, yeah, that's it. The house is alive, it's really good. That's it.
Back in Essex, the boys have waited up.
There he is.
Next day, and after a week in hospital, Jade's finding it hard to keep on top of things.
Dad, close my bank account down without me even knowing. I have got funding there, quite a lot, not going to tell you how much, and I can't use them because I've got no bank and no card, and I didn't even know. And so I'm called up to pay a bill of £92 and my card's been declined, but I've got over 100 grand in the bank, but he's not giving it to me. I was in a good mood, I took all my pills, that was great. And then I get some on the phone. Hello? I'm calling up. Could I speak to a manager, please?
unnecessary now because I'm really, really stressed out. I've just spoke to either yourself or one of your colleagues. Basically, your company has decided to freeze my bank account, stop all my direct debits and stop my card. I have a significant amount of funds in the bank which I can't use. My own money I can't use because for some reason you've stopped my bank account. I've been in hospital with a tumour, not a headache, a tumour, and I find out when I go to try and pay a bill I can't pay because my bank account's been stopped. I would like to speak to a manager, please. Please don't tell me I can't, because I've been given different numbers as well, and those numbers that you've been giving me, I've had an automatic, whatever it is, a voice, a robot, of a Scottish man talking on the phone for the last 20 minutes. Now I would like to speak to a human who's got some authority, please. Thank you. I look like a lunatic, but I'm not. But anybody in my case would be exactly the same frustrated. All you talk to is answering machines. Or you get put on hold and you listen to... But I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to nothing. I want to listen to a voice. Hello. Yes, you can. But like I said, I'd like to speak to a manager. My name is Mrs. Jade Goody. You better not have. She's just cut me off.
That evening, it's business as usual for Jade, the celebrity. She's off to a hotel for a photo shoot for Love It magazine.
Look for the number 232. This ain't fair that I've got left of all of these to carry. In. Boys! Oh, it's horrible. Feel it weird. Down there one, I've got about 3 there. The amount of tablets I'm like that. Probably hear me rattling as I'm walking. Why are you taking the phone back? Stop it, Bobby, because you're getting on my nerves. Stop showing off. Stop showing off. Stop showing off. This one. You haven't seen them all yet. You choose. No, hang on a minute, because these are Bobby's ones. Yeah, that one is nice, that light blue one. Sorry. No, it's not yuck, it's nice. Well, we put that jumper on now. No. You listen to Mark and you put the jumper on now. Just listen and do what they say now. Bobby, please don't start performing in front of the boy. Then you can have a present and you can have your sweets. Look at the camera. God, give me a cuddle. Do you know what we look like? We look like we don't like each other, and I love you. Of course, you love me too. Just for a little bit. I will survive, because I am a survivor, and I've got every single reason in the world to survive. I've got the most two beautiful, gorgeous kids, and I have reasons to live, and the world ain't ready to be parted with Jay Goody. The world needs me. Ow!
Next time, it's Christmas in the Goody household. And Jade starts panto rehearsals.
And that continues tomorrow night at 8 with Jade, the next chapter. On the Living website, there are a number of charities that can offer help and advice on cervical cancer. Just go online to livingtv.com.
You have one new message.
Hi, this is Blake Hansen calling for Dr. Wilson. I got a better offer for the apartment. Now, I know I offered it to you already, so if you match the offer, you can still have the place. Make sure you call me first thing in the morning and let me know. Otherwise, well, you got my number.
Sean Spencer, that phony Psychic is back with another scam. The UK premiere of Psych continues on Sunday night at 8. The next, a girl takes desperate measures to exact her revenge on years of abuse. And that's just the beginning. In Law and Order Criminal Intent.
That's some bad hat, Harry.
You can see the terror in their eyes, right? You can feel their hearts racing. You can feel the cold.
If our enemy wishes to bring us war, then let us give him our war. Let us...
That's you. What kind of God would shut men out of paradise for loving women? Do you see it? Do you want it?
The Thornbirds, this weekend on Zone Romantica.
This is bull. You owe us the time.
5 minutes.
That's how happy a message made me. Thanks for the second chance.
Dr. Barnes delivers this way. I'm expecting a limo at 10. There's a mistake. No problem, we'll add a face setting. No, I have to get out of...
This is completely inappropriate.
Louisa, I didn't... Honey, go back to the table. Why don't we talk?
Plan for your ship to Kinko's?
Keep moving, Kenny G.
What the hell is your problem, man?
Is this to punish me?
It's you hurt me.
I want you to call me tomorrow morning. It's time we changed our relationship.
Camilla? Brown? Oh my God. My desk.
8 to 10 booking. We got them in the room next door. They're waiting on their lawyer before they talk to us.
Witnesses need lawyers now.
Just the ones with trust funds. Murder weapons over here.
That's a Burns. The killer got close to him, he might have known him.
8-inch kitchen knife. Looks fresh out of the package.
Well, the killer came in low. Christian was probably flailing his arms around after he was blinded by the acid. Stitches. Black eye. Well, this could be the jump in a long-running feud.
Maybe a battle of the bands.
My clients are witnesses. They all have alibis for the time of the murder.
Well, that's impressive. We haven't established the time of death yet.
How'd you tear your knuckles up? Between windmills and your guitar?
Or on the trumpet player's face.
The dude started. Last Thursday, we're loading out our gear. He walks up, kicks my guitar, then he throws a punch at us.
After the first punch, what did he do?
Nothing. Didn't even protect himself. He's lucky we didn't bust his lip.
All right, that's enough. You need them, you talk to me first. Come on.
St. Vincent's the nearest ER. He probably got his stitches there.
You know what treatment he's getting. I need to see his CDs again. Remember, some of his home recordings had interesting titles. Self-actualization. Here.
Transference from bebop.
Psychotherapeutic terms. The same treatment.
I'm better off seeing a lyricist.
This is such a shock. He has no other family. His mother passed away in childbirth.
Well, that explains it. Starting all the fights, not defending himself. How guilty about his mother.
Very good detective.
St. Vincent's told us he was treated 4 times last year for fight injuries. Anybody have it in for him?
He was only my patient for 4 months.
The hospital said that he called you Thursday. You went downtown in the middle of the night to see him. And you thought that he was suicidal?
No, but I thought it was an opportune time to confront this behavior.
Did you spill something here? Because there's a circle of clean rug, and you have no blotter.
I have an old cat. He has accidents.
Your cat. You Jimmy Locks too? Because that's been fixed. Someone broke in here. One of your patients?
I have no idea. It happened last Sunday. We were seeing friends off to me.
Christian, did you know he recorded a new piece? Transference bebop. Transference, it means when a patient directs his feelings for his mother, for example, to his therapist.
That's correct.
And while Christian revered his mother for sacrificing herself to save his life, he might have also resented her for making him feel guilty.
You're impressing me.
So, if he was transferring his feelings to you, then he might have resented you to the point of breaking in and urinating on your desk.
That's assuming he revered me in the first place. I'm a psychiatrist. Unlike some people, I have no trouble making my boundaries clear.
Some people, you mean police officers?
No, social workers, psychologists. Oh, for the record, Christian was masochistic, not contemptuous. Now, I've got a room full of patients.
Dr. Barnes is what, 47? She's old enough to be his mother.
I guess that's the point. Mini skirts can work wonders.
Well, she might start dressing that way after. An affair can make you feel sexy.
Lab says the weapon of choice was sulfuric acid. They'll
or in any drugstore. Or in any car battery. What are you listening to?
It's called In Celebration. Chris recorded it Thursday.
The day he ended up in the ER.
Could you look up Eloise's driver's license? She said that she had friends from out of town last weekend made for a special occasion.
Eloise Barnes, date of birth, last Thursday.
Maybe the trumpet piece was a gift.
Well, he might have had to give it to her in person. His credit card records show a limo charge on Thursday.
When somebody disappears,
I've heard that if you don't find a child in the first 48 hours,
time is of the essence.
He's been missing since yesterday, and you're the last person to see him.
And the FBI Missing Person Squad has a race against time to find them.
In most cases, after 48 hours, they're gone.
Anthony LaPaglia stars of the multi-award-winning Without a Trace.
Sounds like you and Graham had a relationship outside therapy.
A sex relationship.
You claim that he made a threat?
Against my life.
And do you have proof? Because we can help you get a restraining order.
I get it. He dumped her, so she filed a false complaint against him. I'm going to call the probation officer.
Graham bought a gun.
You helped him? Is that why you didn't tell us about the gun before? Ever violate your probation?
Graham said he had, people bothering him, so I hooked him up with my friend, KJ.
How does buying a gun turn into a threat?
Graham used to make me pick him up at the hospital and bring him here, and last month I found his wallet in my car, and this was in it.
It's 5 names. Eloise Barnes, David Clayton, KJ Mickens, Tanya Cookner, and Frank Lasting.
I filed the complaint because he was going to kill me.
And the others. I hate this.
Barnes jumped over the boundary and off the deep end.
Barnes just wanted a night out on the town. I took him to some biker bars on Avenue D. He loved it.
Buying a gun, Tanya just made that up.
He just kept grinding about all the ass wipes in his life. I set him up with a couple of good buys. But the guy was picky. I mean, he didn't buy anything.
Loved it, man. That's what he said. I know you didn't find the gun.
We ended up in an after-hours dive up in the Bronx. He was telling stories about being in Africa, in the bush, drinking goat's blood.
God's blood?
Yeah. He took his wife and his kid out in the middle of the night to see some witch doctor kill a goat. The wife and kid freaked out, but Barnes drank the blood.
It was an anthropological expedition. I was never going to buy a gun.
Putting yourself and your family into frightening situations, that's exciting to you, isn't it?
Unless you people have some facts to talk about.
Here's a fact. He put Tanya Coker in fear for her life.
Drug-fried, pathological liar. I treated her destructive behavior. How does she thank me? With a baseless complaint.
And what about boss, David Clayton, and Frank Lasting?
Parasite. You thought hiring Eloise would raise his status.
What is this litany of names?
They're all on this list, along with his wife and his pal KJ. He has scores